I've been chatting all along about these layoffs, and I told you guys a long time ago that the dark number is so much bigger than you and I even imagine. And now I was searching the internet a few days ago, and I came across this article, and it's really interesting because it's starting to kind of make more sense, this whole layoff game, right? So, IBM quietly axing thousands of jobs, sources say. IBM has been laying off substantial numbers of employees this week and is trying to keep it quiet, our sources have said. One IBM employee told the registered IBM Cloud Experience a mass layoff in the past few days that affected thousands of people. Unlike traditional layoffs, this one was done in secret, the insider said. My manager told me that they were required to sign NDAs and not to talk about the specifics. And when I'm looking at this, I'm like, this is not the only company that does this. When IBM and these big companies do it, there's huge dark numbers that they don't want you to know. And let's go over some reasons why they might do that. So, one of them is that I can think of is legal risk. NDAs reduce the risk of laid off employees suing the company and make legal threats by requiring them to waive certain rights in exchange for severance. And when these companies do, when these companies trying to get you to sign a severance package and then they tell you to sign an NDA, what that does is that all these employees are not going to be counted in the unemployment statistics probably till the election. And after the election, it's going to be, sorry, you're out. So they're just going to calculate the days. And then after the election, then they're just going to be like, oops, sorry, can't help you. You have to file unemployment. And then unemployment shoots up because right now you, as the vice president of the United States, cannot let the economy go to shit. This is your number one task because if you're going to have mass numbers of layoffs coming and shortly before the election, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to have a bunch of Americans unhappy and then you're going to lose. So, a second reason why I can think that is prevent competitors' advantage. If layoffs signal internal struggle, competitors might use the information and poach clients and employees. And I think that's why they should be publicly announced. So that can happen. If you mismanage and you have to let thousands of people go, maybe it's time for you to get out of the business and let somebody else take over. And this one is really interesting. So, preventing unionization efforts. Revealing layoff might encourage employees to unionize or take collaborative actions which companies may wish to avoid. So, in other words, if you are about to get laid off and they're trying to form unions, then all of a sudden it might be in your best interest to start forming a union so your job might be protected. Is interesting because all that kind of stuff makes sense when you're on the chopping block, but a lot of you guys, even in the comment section, believe that you guys are not on the chopping block till you guys are. And that is just one hell of a way of thinking about it because nobody's secure. And even in 2008, the government laid off people because there's been managers that were working in the government that had to do layoffs. So nobody's safe. Nobody. And number 5 is maintaining relationships with investors and partners. Keeping the layoffs quiet helps maintaining confidence with investors, clients, and partners who may worry about companies' long-term viability. And this is what I'm kind of thinking, that they got to keep it on the low and to keep everything hush hush and keep the brand name, control the narrative, and do all these shady things so none of them gets out. And for every employee they fire, they're gonna increase bonus package for C-suite executives till they're on the chopping block also. And now they came up with this one. They're saying that keep talent pipeline intact. Public layoffs may deter potential future talent from applying, thinking the company is unstable. So I don't think that that's a real issue, because when you're desperate, and there's a bunch of you guys on LinkedIn that are doing something like this, where they're trying to tell you the hashtag desperate is a thing now, where instead of having the green open to work banner, they're going to have hashtag desperate. And let me tell you a little bit about the hashtag desperate situation. So this went viral on LinkedIn, talking about the green open to work banner is a good thing. It shows that you're motivated, that you want to find a job. And now the hashtag desperate is coming out, where people are saying, I'm desperate, I need a job. And let me just flop that into the employer's perspective. If I see somebody that has the hashtag desperate, and I want you guys to disagree with me in this one, but if I'm the employer and I see a hashtag desperate person, why do I even need to hold interview? Why do I need to tell them about the salary? Why can't I just say, here, throw them a pencil and the keyboard and say, here, go do the work? Because you're desperate. Once you're desperate, you need to do anything the company says. And it says, hey, you're gonna walk from here to Target and pick it up. Okay, here, we could pay for an Uber, but not worth it. Just go. And that's what the desperateness does from a company's perspective, because they're gonna extort you. And I wish it wasn't like that, but that's just what it turns out. That's why I think that hashtag the desperate work would really backfire. And you gotta be super cautious of what you put out there on LinkedIn. So if you haven't, let's connect. And when you get into all these layoffs and then you're like, I'm just gonna do the open to work banner, that's fine. But do not take up this trend where it says, I'm hashtag desperate. That is not how you're going to get another job. Because why would they give me a few reasons why they would still interview you if you're desperate? It's almost like dating. When you're the desperate one, nobody wants to be with you, right? Let me know if you disagree with this or not, but it's kind of how I see it. And then to lay it all on the table, these layoffs, we don't know how many people actually got laid off and how long these severance packages were. Because I've known people in my comment section that said they got 2 years worth of severance, and I've seen people that got 2 weeks worth. So anywhere in between 2 years, that's the longest I've seen, to about 2 weeks, that's the shortest I've seen on the severance package. And then you're like, severance is it's going to run around right around the time of elections. And then they said, oh, it's coming down, unemployment rate's coming down. But then my question is it really coming down, or they just haven't accounted for it? Because that might be one thing that they said, oh, we didn't count for all these other jobs the real job numbers are in, and we've unaccounted 800,000 jobs less than we did than we reported. So now I'm looking at all these numbers, I'm looking at all these layoffs, and I'm looking at all these trends. Where is this going in your opinion? Because when I'm looking at it, it's all about profitability and keeping stockholders happy. But stocks are up. So why all these layoffs? And when you're looking at outsourcing, and you can say, oh, they're all outsourcing to India, they're using AI. AI can't fully replace a human yet, at least to my knowledge. It can do difficult tasks, it can do difficult equations, it can help, but it can't replace it yet. And now, what were all these people doing? And I till this day have not had one email from you guys saying that you were affected by some of these layoffs and I was doing this. So nobody has done that, because I'm always wondering, if they're laying off 15,000 people or 10,000 people, what are those people doing? Because if you are that crucial to the business, they can't really lay you off, or there'll be production issues. Just like on Twitter, where the Elon Musk played 80% off of Twitter, and there were minor glitches. And I'm not talking about the platform, how it's run now. I'm just saying that 80% of the people went, what were these other 80% of people doing? What were these people doing on a daily basis that they deserved a paycheck? And I'm genuinely curious. Because I know from TikTok that all these come work in a late day in a life in a tech company. And they went to the gym, they worked out, they took the sleeping pods, and they did all this stuff kind of stopped. And I haven't seen that in a little while yet they're coming out with these new come work with me with a tech company. Haven't seen those videos. So there must be something with these people got laid off that they were either not productive or were just there to do something. I have no idea. And when you don't perform, you're obviously going to be on the chopping block. And absolutely sad. Really, really sad. Let's go over a few more numbers of what might be the reason. So, one of these reasons why they might have you sign an NDA for companies to protect their reputation. I don't think that protecting a reputation with layoffs is that prone, because you do layoffs and people are short-sighted and they're gonna forget about it. And here comes the kicker. Prevent stock price drops. But I don't think that when you do layoffs that the stock price really drops. I think the stock price probably increases because you're gonna make more profits. And this might have some more merit on it. This was a note I took. Minimizing panic. Revealing layoffs can create panic among remaining employees, leading to lower morale, productivity, or even voluntary resignations. And I thought about this, but then I also thought about the other side, that if you are letting go people at the masses and you're the only one standing left in the cubicle, that you're going to be more productive. You have to be more productive, because if you are not in a position of job searching, or if you cannot skip a paycheck or do anything else, you need to pick up the slack, and you just got to work harder and got to actually perform more. And here we go. This is one of the reasons why I think that these companies have you sign NDAs before you leave the door. To control the narratives. NDA allowed the company to maintain control over how the layoffs are perceived. And if you are a big company like IBM, Amazon, and all these other ones, I haven't seen on the news that these people came out and said, you're laid off and your badge just didn't work. I only saw this one Tesla guy on the news where he basically went into the office and the badge stopped working. And this wasn't very well done by Tesla, because they didn't control the narrative. But with all these tech workers, Google employees into it, and all these other big companies, they probably want to control the narrative. So when you control the narrative, you basically tell the world your side of the story and silencing the other part with money. Is this ethical? Probably not. But who's going to stop them doing that? Because you need money to live. You need money for groceries. And nobody's going to want to come out. And if they do come out, no news agency has interest in talking to you about it, because it doesn't help their favorite political candidate. And then you got to talk to another news agency to chat about your layoff and experience. And it is absolutely crazy when you're looking at how stuff really works with the money, because you always got to follow the money. There is no layoff without a trail of money, of how they're trying to do something or trying to get into a new area, laying people off, try to make sense of it. You just can't. You just got to follow the money trail. And that's why when I'm talking about the end of the year, it's going to be really interesting. And I kind of knew interest rates were going to come down, because all of these big corporate landlords have loans. They do loans, they do fundraisers, they do all these crazy REITs and all these other stuff, where they take out debt and they buy apartment buildings, they buy office buildings. And then you got to go back to the office, because they cannot take these losses. Because work from home was a great idea till we discovered that everybody needs to, that these companies made backdoor deals with these cities, telling the company and the cities like, hey, we only want to pay this much in taxes. Great, just bring 5,000 people in and you're good to go. And if I was the city mayor, I'd probably do the same thing. So working from home isn't a thing anymore. And I would have loved that for America, so people can work from home and do their thing. And if you were not eligible for work from home because you were I don't know, a mechanic or something else, that's just what you picked. And if you wanted to work from home, get an office job. And Elon Musk was always against it. He always said, it's unfair for the janitor to not come in. Well, that's just the name of the game, because it's also going to be unfair when you see Flippy, the robot that I'm keep talking about, is taking away jobs. It's just how it goes. You pick your line of work and you're in it. You're in it to win it. But this is all going to be different when 2025 comes around, because we're seeing interest rates cut. We're seeing people starting to get upset about it. And now we're going to see who's going to make it in this election. Who's going to come out on top and win? Because I haven't seen Harris basically talk about her policies. And when I watched Trump online, and when I watched Trump on the debate, the only thing that kind of was memorable to me during that debate was, you can go to the White House and fix it tomorrow. You could go down with Joe Biden and start repairing it. But it's not in their interest. It's too small. I say that there's way bigger things going on for them, fundraising, meeting billionaires, than caring about the normal people. So, yeah, they could fix it, but why would they? Why would they help you and me out? It's just not going to happen. And this will all be different, though. Market cycles, ups and downs, and around we go. And I think there'll be better times. I think in about 6-8 months, a few more interest rate cuts, it's going to be better. CDs are going to hurt. And people pointed out, oh, CDs are going to go down, and you keep talking about them. Yeah, you got to stay up with the times. You got to stay up with where you park your money and how you invest, because it's all going to change, and hopefully for the better. So let me know what you guys think about all of this. And this is just one view. There's so many out there. So don't ever take my advice and then make investments advice off of what I'm saying, because it's just not worth it. You need to do what's best for your family. And look at my stuff, look at what the mainstream media says, look at some other creators. Divide it all up, divide it by how many there are, and that's probably the truth. So, like and subscribe if you like this video. If you want to send me an article, my email's in the about section of YouTube. And I'd love to hear from you. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.